Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to my review of Season 4, Episode 19 of Lucha Underground, called Savagery. I think that's how you pronounce the episode's title. May be wrong on pronouncing the title that way. But this was another solid, good episode of Lucha Underground tonight. Really enjoyed it. Of course, we're on the road to Ultima Lucha Quatro. So, the build-up to it has been really good. And, of course, tonight we had 3 matches. So, let's get started with the review. And, of course, Lucha Underground opens up with, a recap of what happened in the past episodes. So, then after the recap, we are in Antonio Cueto's office. Jake Strong, aka Jack Swagger, walks into Antonio Cueto's office. He was wearing a suit, and Antonio asks Strong to take a seat, and Jake Strong is like to Antonio, like, "Oh, why did you ask me to come here? Why did you ask me to come into your office?" And Antonio says to him that he began talking about him putting Jake Strong in the main event at Ultima Lucha Quatro, and Strong ended up turning down the offer because he wants to be legitimate. He doesn't want to be given favoritism for himself. And Antonio ends up, understanding that. And Antonio ends up giving Strong an ancient Aztec medallion and a shot at the Gift of the Gods Championship. And, he ends up giving him that. Jake Strong ends up leaving Antonio's office. And he ends up telling him that, the temple was no longer, Antonio's, but his. So that's how the scene ended. But looks like we're getting another to see who is the to see who will be the next Gift of the Gods champion. So after that segment, we went into the temple. Antonio Cueto was at ringside. He ends up saying that, he's declaring that, there must be a new Gift of the Gods champion. Of course, the Gift of the Gods championship was held by Pentagon Dark, and then he ended up losing it to Mario the Mark Martinez, and Marty ended up trading in the Gift of the Gods championship for, the Lucha Underground championship. And so Antonio says, that he has gave 7 medallions to worthy competitors, and this is kind of different because for in past times where they did the Gift of the Gods championship, where they put up the ancient Aztec medallions. The luchadores had to earn those ancient Aztec medallions. So now Antonio is just giving them, those 7 medallions. So, and then we had all the luchadores who are, going to be competing, and it is. Here are the 7 competitors. We have Aerostar, PJ Black, Hernandez, Big Bad Steve, King Cuerno, Jake Strong, of course, as what we saw in the opening to the episode tonight. And the last competitor in this is a returning Dante Fox. Yes, Dante Fox made his return in this episode. He hasn't even appeared in this season of Lucha Underground. The last time we saw Dante Fox was in that Hell of War match at Ultima Lucha Quatro between him and Killshot, which, in my opinion, was one of the best matches at Ultima Lucha Quatro, and one of the best matches of the season, of last season on Lucha Underground. I have to consider it possibly one of the greatest matches in Lucha Underground. That was just a crazy match. If you haven't seen that Hell of War match, I would highly recommend you all check out that match. Search it up here on YouTube, because it was a crazy match. It was a very brutal match. Possibly the best match that both guys ever had. So yeah, so those were the 7 competitors who are going to be competing for the Gift of the Gods Championship. And Antonio ends up saying that there will be a battle royal, as there will be only 6 competitors competing for the Gift of the Gods Championship next week. And of course, the winner of the battle royal will get to select who would be removed from the match. And so the first match tonight was the battle royal. It was all 7 competitors: Aerostar, PJ Black, Hernandez, Big Bad Steve, King Cuerno, Jake Strong, and Dante Fox. And this was a pretty good battle royal. Aerostar ended up getting the offense in the beginning of the match. Aerostar then eliminated Big Bad Steve. And after that, Hernandez was eliminated by PJ Black and King Cuerno because Hernandez was standing on the ring apron. He was trying to eliminate Aerostar. And then shortly after that, Jake Strong ended up eliminating PJ Black and King Cuerno. Because Dante Fox ended up hitting a drop kick. And then Jake Strong would then go on to eliminate Aerostar. He ended up shoving Aerostar. And then it was back and forth between Jake Strong and Dante Fox in the match. Jake Strong ends up winning the Battle Royal. Ends up eliminating, of course, Dante Fox. So Jake Strong ends up winning. Then we had, after the match, Antonio ends up, congratulating Jake Strong. And he asks Jake Strong who he wants to see eliminated from the match for next week. And Jake Strong says, I don't want to eliminate nobody. Because he says he wants to destroy them all. And so Antonio ends up declaring that next week it will be a 7 to survive match for the Gift of the Gods Championship. And so Jake Strong ends up replying, saying, Antonio could put him against anybody, and and he could just snap, them in half. And so, Antonio then said to Jake Strong that in the main event, he will be facing Johnny Mundo. So there's your main event, Jake Strong versus Johnny Mundo. So, but all in all, it was a good battle royal. I kind of had a feeling that Jake Strong was going to win. But it was a good battle royal. And then we had the next match when Lucha Underground came back from the commercial. It was Killshot versus the Mack. And this was a good match. This was a competitive match between the both of them. You had Son of Havoc, who was watching from the balcony, catwalk area. And this was back and forth. This was a back and forth match between Killshot and the Mack. Both of these guys, they got a lot of offense in. They were countering each other's moves, which were really awesome. But unfortunately, the match ended in a disqualification because Mil Muertes ran into the ring and attacked the Mack. And then Son of Havoc tried to make the save. Son of Havoc was taken down by Mil Muertes. And as all this stuff was happening, we saw Killshot leaving the temple after he laid out Son of Havoc. The Mack ended up trying to get, the upper hand, and Muertes ended up hitting him with a flatliner, and then the show went to a commercial. So, but like I said, it was a pretty good match. It was a competitive match, but the ending, was kind of, disappointing. That the match ended in a disqualification. So, and then when Lucha Underground came back from the commercial, we saw Matt Striker interviewing Ivelisse and XO Lishus, aka Sonny Kiss. They requested this interview with Matt Striker, and Ivelisse says that that her and XO Lishus have a new partner to face, the Reptile Tribe for the Trios Championships. And it is revealed this is going to happen, of course, at Ultima Lucha Quatro, because Joey Ryan possibly, won't be ready for Ultima Lucha Quatro. And their new partner is revealed to be Sammy Guevara. And that's kind of cool. So then we have Famous B. He ends up interrupting them, and he goes on to say that Sammy Guevara has a 7-year contract with Infamous Inc. And Famous B then declared that he's sending XO and Ivelisse a cease and desist order from his lawyers. And Famous B then offered Sammy Guevara a chance to team with Dr. Wagner and Tejano if he wants a trios title shot. And Sammy then ended up running, and he ended up diving, and he dived on Famous B, and then we saw Guevara end up retrieving a garbage can, puts it down, takes Famous B's and Famous Inc. contract, throws it in the garbage, and he just puts the garbage can on top of Famous B, and ends up laying out Famous B with a super kick, and he ends up super kicking the garbage can, that was on Famous B's head. So, and that's how he got back in the ring, and he was in there. He posed with XO Lishus and Ivelisse, and then the show went to a commercial. So that's pretty interesting that Sammy Guevara is now the third partner for XO and Ivelisse, and both XO and XO Lishus and Ivelisse, they're really entertaining in the ring. When they were tagging with Joey Ryan, who was their third partner. So this is going to be interesting to see at Ultima Lucha Quatro. They announced that, which I'll get to that. And then after Lucha Underground came back from commercial, Matt Striker and Vampiro talked about the Ultima Lucha Quatro card, which is a which is a stacked card. So it's gonna be interesting. Ultima Lucha Quatro. Can't wait for it. Sorry about that, guys, but you know, I said Matt Striker and Vampiro went over the Ultima Lucha Quatro card, which I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be a good show. And then we had the main event. We had Johnny Mundo versus Jake Strong, and this was a really good match. This was a good main event, a very enjoyable main event by these two. And we saw Mundo. He was trying to grapple with Strong, but Strong took control of the match. Looked like Strong was getting the best of Mundo, and the match ended up spilling into outside of the ring. They both brawled in the bleachers, which was cool because I think it was Mundo ended up retrieving a drink that a fan had and threw it at Jake Strong. Mundo then used his parkour, and he got away from Jake Strong. And as Jake Strong came by, because Jake Strong was near the bleachers on the other side, and Mundo was on the other side, there. And when Strong ended up making his way to where Mundo was at, in the bleachers over there, Mundo ended up hitting a sunset flip powerbomb on Strong to the floor outside from the bleachers, and that was really awesome. That was really cool. And then the match, they both went back into the ring. It was back and forth between the both of them. Strong ended up hitting a running avalanche throw on Mundo, and Mundo landed on the other side of the ring, which was a crazy throw from Strong. And the end of the match, Mundo ended up hitting the end of the world on Strong. Went for the pin. Strong kicked out, and then he got Mundo in the ankle lock. And there was a lot of reversing with Mundo with the ankle lock here in the match. But in the end, Mundo ended up tapping out. Jake Strong ends up winning the match. So, but it was a good match. It was a good main event. It was a very enjoyable match between the both of them. It was very, very entertaining. And the wrestling in this match was intense and good. Then you had, after the match, Jake Strong ends up putting Mundo back in the ankle lock. Matanza ends up coming out. He ended up coming into the ring. Strong ended up letting go of Mundo's ankle. Strong handed Mundo over to Matanza. And then Matanza then attacked Mundo. Was throwing punches at Mundo. Taya ended up coming out to make the save. But Matanza would then, lay out Taya. He continued his attack on Mundo, which Mundo was bleeding. He was busted open from the punches from Matanza. And also Matanza also headbutted Mundo, which is probably another reason why Mundo was busted open. And then we just saw Antonio Cueto, come out from his office, and he has sort of like a smile, impressed look on his face for what Matanza was doing to Mundo. And then the episode ended with Mundo laying down, bloodied in the ring, and Taya was, trying to help him as Matanza and Antonio Cueto left the temple. So, but it was crazy. It was a crazy end to Lucha Underground. Sets up hype for Matanza and Mundo's match at Ultima Lucha Quatro. I think that's gonna be a good match between the both of them. So yeah, so all in all, it was a solid, good episode of Lucha Underground tonight, as they built to Ultima Lucha Quatro. So yeah, so anyways, that's it for my review of Season 4, Episode 19 of Lucha Underground, called Savagery. I think that's how you pronounce the name of the episode. So I may be pronouncing the episode title wrong, but hope you all enjoyed this review. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and the next video I will do is the next video will be a movie review on Venom. And yes, I did get to see Venom this past Saturday. So that will be the next video. It will be a review on Venom. So until that video, I'll see you all later. Bye.